All right. It looks like we are live again, and we are ready to talk the NFL and AFC. You got that in there. We're back. Got that.
The guy at the
I love it. I love that. So glad. So we're going to be doing that. We're actually going to be coming up with segments, to like little things to introduce each segment. So in the future, I'm working on it. It's tough, you know. This is a side hustle, side gig. But yeah. All right. So we will. All right. So for those that were watching the NFC, I asked Ronnie Pirro about possibly what he thought about Matt Patricia, if they would give him, you know, how much of a leash they have basically for him. And he said, I think they'll give Patricia and definitely Stafford the entire season unless it's a complete dumpster fire.
Oh, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I think they'll give him the entire season. I just think, do you think they'll depart with him at the end of the season if they don't have like at least a 500 record? Because I don't see them doing better than that. But maybe,
I don't.
You obviously have a different feeling. He said there are a lot of new faces. Yeah.
I still think he gets another year after this, unless, like you said, it's really bad. Like if it's like a 2-3 win campaign, then it might just be time to shift gears. But yeah, beyond that, no.
All right, so let's go. Let's get into our AFC talk here. We got the AFC. We're gonna start off with the AFC East.
Yeah.
Who you got, Brian, man?
Guess where we're going with this one.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Goddamn Patriots, they will not go away. It's not going to happen. It may not happen in our lifetime. It really just might not. I don't know. Even when Brady retires, Belichick will find somebody else. He'll find a clone. He'll clone him. He'll clone him and be like, it's not cheating. We did this on the up and up. So, yeah, the Patriots going to win this division in like a walk. And it doesn't matter who or what the Patriots lose. It really doesn't. As long as Brady and Belichick are there, everything is fine. It's all well and good. There's no end in sight. It's just going to keep going on and on and on.
This will be the first quarterback to play till he's 50.
And not only that, but they're probably, I think by my predictions...
He's the George Foreman of football.
Also, by my predictions, they're going to have the best record in the league again in the regular season. They're going to be 13-3. Just because they are. First of all, they may not lose any games in this division. They may not lose one. They really might not. There's just I just don't see. Maybe the Jets can steal one from them in New York, but other than that, I mean, so at worst, they're 5-1 in this division, and they have obviously proven they do well outside of the division. So, all right. They're gonna just plow their way to another title, and then finishing pretty far behind them. I mean, this thing may be over. Like, this division may be in the bag by like week 12, if not early, maybe even like week 11. Because I've got the Jets at 8-8. Mm-hmm. I still have so many questions about them. First of all, who and what is Le'Veon Bell going to be after a 1-year layoff? I mean, look, he's an elite athlete. So from that perspective, he'll shake the rust off pretty quick. He's going to get a lot of touches in this offense. He's a great, great outlet for Sam Darnold. And that's the other thing is Sam Darnold. What progression does he take this year? Last year, he made a lot of bad throws, a lot of ugly picks. I saw a lot of them because a lot of them happened against the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. And so I need to see that progression from him. But even at best, with all that progression, all the weapons, I like Robbie Anderson, that's a 500 team. That's a 500 team because they're going to win games that you don't expect them to, and they're going to lose games you don't expect them to. But ultimately, they're an 8-8 team. Yep. Buffalo, listen, I'm sorry, man. They're not going to be a good team. They're a 7-9. That's a 7-9 team. Thankfully, they're not going to be in any kind of a conversation for quarterback battle with the Dolphins. They're going to have significantly better than that. And then we come to the Miami Football Dolphins.
Uh-oh.
Now, earlier, I had talked about how I had the Dolphins as a 2-14 team because I just didn't see any more than 2 wins on the team.
Am I going to need to put earmuffs on the screen?
A lot has happened since that 2-14 prediction. Okay. A lot. Mm-hmm. They lost their perennial Pro Bowl left tackle in Laramie Tunsil. They lost, not that it's a huge loss, but a guy like Kiko Alonso gets traded. And again, you're trading guys who are normally starters. Even your long snapper, John Denny, John Denny, 40-year-old John Denny. Now listen, I'm not going to get too worked up about John Denny, but the guy who has literally been on the team since like the Truman administration. But it says a lot about what the Dolphins are doing here. And then, of course, they traded Kenny Stills, too. So they've created holes in multiple spots when they were already a bad team. So you heard it here. This is happening. It's not unprecedented. We've seen it before. The Browns did it not too long ago. But the Miami football Dolphins are going to go 0-16. 0.0 wins and 16 losses. Which, listen, I guess I really shouldn't be worried about any of these other teams competing with the Dolphins for a first round, for that overall first pick. Because at 0 wins, I don't have any other team not winning at least a game. So there you have it. And actually, the one win I thought maybe the Dolphins might have had on their schedule, which was the Redskins, I don't see it anymore. Look at this Dolphins talent. Look at the roster, the talent on this Dolphins roster. Go around the roster. It's not there. It's not there at like any position. I've never seen an offensive line that's going to be this bad. I actually don't want Josh Rosen to start anymore because I don't want him to get murdered. Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to get legitimately killed behind this offensive line. He's going to die in the regular season, probably very early. They've got the Ravens in week 1 coming to town. Oh my God, that's going to be a bloodletting. It's going to be bad. 0-16.
Yikes. All right. Well, let's get into my picks. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot. Yeah. I forgot to put on the music.
That's fine. I don't think that needed any music. I think a lot of it spoke for itself.
Got to be depressing. That's what it needed to be. All right. So I also have the Patriots leading the division here. I have the Patriots going, I'll get into it first. This team is good. It was good. It's still good. And heck, they're pretty darn good. I mean, they will continue to dominate the AFC, especially late in the season. They are not as veteran heavy as they have been in the past, which is why I think they might start off a little slow, until they can work out all the kinks. But I think that Brady to Gordon, as long as Josh Gordon can, keep his head on straight, I think that Brady to Gordon is going to happen a lot. And also, do not count out Gronk all year either. I would not be surprised if the Patriots sign him.
Oh, he's coming
late
back
in the year for another Super Bowl run.
Yeah.
I have the Patriots finishing at 11-5. I have the Jets finishing in second. I think they had a really good offseason. They fill a lot of holes. A lot of key positions are filled. I have the Jets at 9-7. I have, Lev Bell, Crowder. They filled the guard. They filled the center. They should be in good shape, and I think you're going to really see what Darnold's all about. Bills, they had a very solid draft this year, and they are moving in the right direction, but they're not quite there yet. And I had them at 8-8, but I moved them to 7-9 after they traded the Shady to the Chiefs. That is just it's a big deal for a young team to have that veteran guy who can just carry a load for you.
I need your boy Devin Singletary to step up for me. I took a little bit of a reach on him in the middle round, so I'm really hoping to
him and Frank Gore. They're gonna probably
Yeldon.
Yeah,
Yeldon's
and Yeldon
too. So
he'll
get touches though.
He will, but he's terrible. I mean, I hope they just keep it between Gore and Singletary. So anyway. I have the Dolphins. They're just bad, and I know they're bad. So I'm just gonna say I'm sorry, but they're just really bad.
Just give me the win count, or are you also at 0?
I actually hope that Rosen plays because that is really the only way to salvage this season for you guys. And I think they'll still have a really bad record, but as of now, I have them at 3-13.
That's too many wins.
I know you're gonna think that's too many wins, but I have them at 3-13. Finishing, I think that's
prediction. I'm more concerned that many wins puts them in perilous position as far as the number 1 pick.
I think that might be my worst. I think that might be my worst record though.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
All
right. So now let's get on to AFC West.
West.
This should be relatively easy.
It was easy, and I'll kind of blaze through this one very quickly. Nobody's toppling the Chiefs. That's a 13-3 team also. So I actually have them tied with the Patriots as far as overall record.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully there will be a tiebreaker somehow that gets the sheet, which I would imagine would probably I don't think they're playing each other in the regular season. I don't know if they're playing each other in the regular season, but or maybe they are actually. I'm not sure. Though that could be a tiebreaker or division record could be a tiebreaker. But I've got the Chiefs firmly in control of this division at 13-3. I have the Chargers at 11-5. That's a good team there too. My only concern about the Chargers, of course, is Melvin Gordon, who I think has played his last down with the Chargers. He has been allowed to explore trade opportunities, so I would imagine he's going to be gone pretty soon. Mm-hmm. So then you've got that combination of Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson, I think. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. Eckler is kind of a known quantity. Justin Jackson could end up being a player. We'll see. But there's still plenty on that Chargers team to be excited about. They're still defensively they're good. Solid team. I got them at 11-5. And then you've got these two kind of bottom dwellers here in the West, which I have confidence in neither one. I will tell you, I watched Hard Knocks this year, which was probably the most uninteresting year of Hard Knocks ever. It was just so stupid. Knock on wood if you agree that Hard Knocks sucked this year, and if you watch Hard Knocks, you'll understand that reference. But I have the Raiders in third. I've got them at 5-11. Mm-hmm. Oh, they're another team that would actually concern me, not because they'll have as bad a record as the Dolphins, but just because in case the Dolphins don't, for whatever reason, have the worst record, like the Raiders could be one of those teams that trade a ton of picks to move ahead of the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think
that's what Gruden does.
He does not like Carr. I don't care what anybody says. He's not a Carr fan. That's not his guy. I think Gruden has had to, for lack of a better term, suffer through Carr for a couple of years because I think it just would have been hard to unload him. Plus, they signed him to an extension. But I don't think this is his guy, and I think he wants out of this. And I think if you want to keep Gruden there for that 10 years that he signed on for, or however ridiculous contract he signed, he needs to get Carr out of town quick.
Yeah.
And I just think this is going to be kind of a miserable year for this team, kind of all year round. And then you got the Broncos right there at 4-12. A lot of problems. The Broncos just don't do anything for me. They really don't. I'm kind of hard pressed to even name a player on this team right now.
Flacco.
Just and I love Joe Flacco. Love him. You know how I feel about Joe Flacco.
Flacco.
He's like my hero. But man, oh man, this team is devoid of talent in a lot of big areas, and I just don't see them really being competitive.
All right. I have the Chiefs also. Head coach is great. Receiving core great. QB is outstanding. Running back situation just got better with the addition of Shady, to the backfield. This team right here might be my favorite to go to the Super Bowl. The defense is always worries me, but they have upgraded a little bit, tiny bit. But the team is stacked on offense. I have them at 12-4. The Chargers, they're the same team as they have been, but they have some key losses on defense. So they're not going to be as good on defense. They're likely going to lose Gordon as well. I have them finishing at 9-7, which is going to be kind of fighting for a playoff spot, but might not make it.
I've got them in the playoffs.
I want them to be better than they are, but because I love Phillip Rivers, but I can't see it. They lost Derwin James, which is a big deal. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough year. I have the Raiders finishing in third. I think this team is going to be so much fun to watch. With Gruden leading the team, Derek Carr, who has one of the best wide receivers in the league now. I am in agreement with you, though. I think if they start off slow or if they have a bad year, worse than what I'm picking, if they have a bad year, Derek Carr is going to be out. I do think that they will be fun to watch. I think this division isn't easy. I also think that this division isn't terribly hard. It's just a weird division. I have them at 8-8. The Broncos, I really just don't like this team at all on offense, and I think this team is definitely one of the least fun teams to watch all year, kind of hopping on what you said before. I have this team finishing at 7-9. Let's get into AFC North. What you got?
AFC North. This was tough. This was a tough division for me. This was probably the one I had the hardest time with because there have clearly been some improvements on the Cleveland Browns. and you've lost a couple of guys. One guy that you were without entirely last year in Le'Veon Bell on the Steelers, and now you've lost Antonio Brown. Mm-hmm. This was really hard for me to pick because there was a part of me that still wanted to go with Pittsburgh as the top dog here, some pun intended. But I do think that Cleveland finally eclipses them. And I've got Cleveland as an 11-5 team.
Woo!
Winning this division. I love Baker Mayfield.
Big deal.
I know,
Big.
Look, Beckham, obviously you know that he's a diva. There's a bit of a head case there. Jarvis Landry is not so much of a head case. He's just a very passionate guy, and he which I loved, of course, as a Dolphins fan, because he was one of the few guys who really cared about winning on that team. And then, listen, their running game, Nick Chubb, then you've got eventually Kareem Hunt returning, and who knows if he even is able to contribute, but if he is, that's just another weapon for that team. But look at the weapons. Look at the weapons on that team. David Njoku, that team's going to score points. And keep in mind, their defense also from a fantasy perspective is like a top 5 defense.
They're good.
So it was really hard for me to pick against them. So I actually have them at 11-5 winning this division. I've got the Steelers right below them at 10-6. Mm-hmm. Right below. Because you know what? In a lot of ways, I kind of look at like Roethlisberger and Tomlin as like a very poor man's version of Belichick and Brady. Like, as long as these two guys are together, they're, good things are going to happen. They're still going to win games. And listen, you know what? Maybe, though, for the and by the way, the Steelers are my other wildcard team. Okay. Them and the Chargers are my 2 wildcard teams. So, but maybe you have other guys. I think Juju's going to have a monster year. I think he's going to have a monster year.
He has to.
I love Vance McDonald. I think he's a top 5 to 8 fantasy tight end.
Wow.
What's their other guy? James Washington, I think, is another one of their receivers there who I kind of like. He's going to have to step up.
Yeah.
Listen, James Conner, I've got total confidence in James Conner.
Had a great year.
He had a great year. And honestly, just from a production-only perspective, they didn't miss. There wasn't a huge drop-off from Le'Veon to him. No. Le'Veon's a better player. I think we all know that. But James Conner he's good. He's a good player.
Solid.
A really good player. Mm-hmm. And he's going to give you a lot of production there. Mm-hmm. I don't see why they're still not a 10-win team. Okay. And then you get into the last 2 teams, Ravens, Bengals. I do like the Ravens a lot. But the Ravens are going to drive you a little bit nuts because you're going to see so many great progressions and steps from Lamar Jackson, and he's just going to do things that completely piss you off. Some with his legs, some with his arm. And that's why they're an 8-8 team.
Okay.
Win some, lose some. Mm-hmm. That's where they are. They're in that range. And then I've got the Bengals bottoming out here at 5-11. They're a bad team. Yeah. They would also worry me in the discussion, but I still think they're good enough to get 5 wins. You'll still get a handful of wins. Once AJ Green comes back, which will probably be like around week 4 or so, that'll give them a little shot in the arm. So they'll be better. But they concern me being in a quarterback conversation, though, too. Because eventually they're going to move on from it.
Yes.
And I think that's this year, after this year.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go into I have the Steelers. They got rid of all the mouthy mouths and have improved on defense. They had Devin Bush at linebacker. But overall, another team that had a good offseason, even with the loss of Antonio Brown. And I expect that this division to be a battle between the Steelers and the Browns. But I'm going to give a slight edge to the Steelers because they have been there before. I have them at 10-6.
Fair. I struggled with it.
But this is where it's tricky. I have them at 10-6. I also have the Browns at 10-6. This team is the team that I most want to watch this year. They are going to be a blast to watch on offense. They're going to be a blast to watch on defense, and and they're going to be a blast to watch on the field and off the field. They have so many weapons. I have them at 10-6 as well. Yep. Ravens. Here is another team that I think will be boring. It's going to be so boring to watch. They have a quarterback that could be out in the middle of the season because of the way he plays. And if that happens, they're going to be even worse than the record I have them. I have them at 7-9. And the Bengals, another terrible team to watch. Like, half this division is just going to be brutal to watch unless you're playing the Browns or the Steelers, who actually have good teams. Then it might be a fun watch as long as you're not a Bengals or Ravens fan. I think that this team is going to be terrible. They have They don't have many weapons. They aren't going to make much noise. I have them at 5-11.
Okay.
All right, AFC South.
This was so easy. By the way, if you're the Houston Texans, you don't win this division, you got some explaining to do. Because you just addition by subtraction, this division no longer has Andrew Luck in it. And of course, I would have picked the Colts to win this division. Not with ease, but I would have picked them to win it hands down had Andrew Luck still been there. He's gone. I like Jacoby Brissett, but not that much. Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, Kenny Stills now on this team. Deshaun Watson has one of the best left tackles in the game now protecting his blind side in Laramie Tunsil. There are already a great defense headlined by J.J. Watt. 0.0 excuses for the Houston Texans not to win this division and not to win it by at least 3 games.
Yeah.
At least 3 games.
Yeah.
Okay? So I've got them at a healthy 11-5, winning this division. This is another one of those divisions where you should go 5-1 at worst.
Yeah.
In this division. Texans, Colts now below them. I've got the Colts. Listen, Jacoby Brissett is one of those guys. He's good enough to win you a bunch of games. He's like a younger, probably slightly better version of Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's going to win you games, but probably a few more than maybe he should. He's also a good quarterback.
Some health issues.
I like him. I like him, though. I like him. And he's going to be good enough to get them to 8 wins. So I've got that at 8-8. Then you've got your cellar dwellers here. Man, oh man, the Titans are bad. I mean, if you think there is a worse quarterback situation in the league than Marcus Mariota and Ryan Tannehill, I'm here to tell you there isn't. Outside of maybe Ryan Fitzpatrick and Josh Rosen. But at least with Josh Rosen, there's the promise of something. Yeah. Maybe, just because we just don't know enough about him. Man, with Marcus Mariota and Ryan Tannehill, those books have been written. Those chapters are complete. That's a 5-11 team right there. And then you've got Jacksonville. And I like Nick Foles. I do. But I also have them at 5-11, by the way. But tiebreakers, I have them in last place. But just don't try. Their defense was supposed to be great last year, and it wasn't. And Jalen Ramsey is I'm starting to think Jalen Ramsey is more mouth than anything else. And I like him. He's a great player. But man, that defense was not good last year. It's not there.
You better put up.
There is a definite improvement, I think, from Bortles to Foles. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I see him as a 5-win team.
Cool. All right. AFC South. I have, the Texans obviously leading the way. Andrew Luck's decision has totally changed this division. Texans, for me, are clearly the best team now, and I have them pretty much running away with this division. They have my favorite wide receiver, and Watson is a beast, so this team should really just run away with that 11-5. I have the Titans finishing in second place. The rest of the division are all going to be playing for second, really. I mean, this is what it comes down to, is that they're going to have a bunch of mediocre to average teams, but I have the Titans at 8-8. I have the Jaguars, and Nick Foles will prove to be, Foles gold once again, I guess, or he'll just be. Basically, what Nick Foles is going to prove is just that he's actually just okay. So that's what's going to happen. They're going to be
just okay.
Yeah, just okay. And then I have it, and he's going to be at. They're going to be at 7-9. I have the Colts at 7-9. You just can't lose Luck and rally so much this year that you are going to have a winning record. I just don't see it happening this year. Next year, they should be back in the playoff hunt again. Back in the playoff contention. They have a ton of cap room. And they have a solid team. I just think that it's going to be tough to kind of gear up after that huge loss this year. So I think it's just going to be a bunch of teams like 8-8, 7-9, 7-9, kind of picking off each other, but not as the Texans just kind of run away with it. That's what I think it's going to be. All right. We got our picks in there. What are your picks? You can always put them in the comments. AFC, this is the AFC side. You can put the NFC ones in here if you want to. Let us know what you guys think, and we'll be signing off and coming back to talk about a little Disney Plus. There was a big deal that just happened, and I wish I remembered to sign up for it yesterday. I did. You're smart.
I did.
You're smart. I'm not. You're the best. I'm the worst. So anyway, we will get into that, and we'll also be talking about Rotten Tomatoes in just a few minutes, because we're going to be coming up a little segment I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to hear what you guys have to say. I think we're going to get some comments in it too. This is something that I think can be a little bit of a hot topic because everybody knows Rotten Tomatoes now. So, all right, we'll be back in a few seconds, and we'll be back to talk some sorts. So if you want to talk sorts, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Ridiculous.